And now with this next session, inshallah, Bioethics and Healthcare Part 2 with Dr. Ahmed Bisyoumit Khitami Al-Badawi, Bioethics Lecturer and Secretary of the Oman National Bioethics Committee, Sultan Qaboos University, Sultanate of Oman, Vice Chairperson of the Intergovernmental Bioethics Committee. About navigating ethical crossroads, challenges, and opportunities for national bioethics committees in a complex world. تفضل.
Thank you, the Iceland University and Chair of Bioethics for inviting me to represent a case, bioethics committee dilemmas which we encountered. And I'm picking up an experience from a money perspective. Well, now, just as a briefly, this is National Bioethics Committee of Oman, which is answerable to the cabinet. There are very few organizations, bioethical committees, with such structure. This structure or hierarchy give the National Bioethics Committee a power, a strong say to the government in terms of regulations and laws in bioethics. We are not answerable to the Ministry of Health or to any ministry. We are above the ministry as far as making guidelines and establishing laws in bioethics. Now, my journey navigating ethical crossroads, that is the issues which are very delicate, controversial, and needs care, which really has taken us quite a long time. The Omani National Bioethics Committee, in short, ONBC, which may always be referring to, as a national body, faces ongoing challenges ongoing challenges and ethical dilemmas in the process of establishing bioethical guidelines. Now, this process demands a careful, value-based deliberation and a nuanced understanding of diverse ethical perspectives. In many cases, we always find ourselves swimming against a very rough sea when we are confronted with ethical issues all through. And there are a number of issues. For example, we have been dealing with abortion for 3 years. And I'll explain the reason why we take long time. DNR, 4 years, do not reset procedures. DNR do not reset. The turbulent waters steering controversial bioethics through public storms. Now, one of the most significant experiences encountered by Omani National Bioethics Committee was the development of the DNR national policy. Bear in mind that in the whole region, each hospital has its own laws as far as DNR was concerned. And we are the pioneers in the GCC for having a policy, a national policy for DNR. Followed, and then our brothers followed the case. Now, one of the most significant, now, the initiative representing a major, this DNR policy, represented a major ethical and legal milestone. Yet it was a fraught with challenges. We had so many challenges. Now, chief among them was the fundamental clash between judicial perspective and deeply ingrained cultural values within Omani society. You see, Oman is a cultural society controlled by sheikh of the community, and each tribe has its own sheikh. And so it is very difficult for a doctor to declare a patient DNR patient without the invitation or the consultation or the awareness of the community. Formulation of the Omani national DNR policy was an uphill battle requiring sustained dialogue, evidence-based advocacy, and principled negotiation among stakeholders. What ultimately prompted the government to enact DNR legislation followed our strong recommendations was a growing sense of urgent rooted in series of court cases and heightened public concern. You see, for example, in our hospital, National Teaching Hospital, Sultan Qaboos University, we had a case. And a nearby hospital had a similar case of DNR where the patients, where the family took the doctor concerned to court. And the hospital, he was acquitted. And the nearby other hospital, a doctor was imprisoned for 11 years for declaring a patient DNR, he died, and they accused the doctor of killing their father. So you see, it's as if we're in different countries. These series of ethical blunders were the ones which prompted us to have a national policy so that taking consideration culture, religious, and societal demands. Now, two critical issues were at a national here of this general policy, mainly the definition of death. And until last week, we are still discussing the definition of death because it has got a very, very implication to our community regarding AIDA. When does the AIDA starts? And then the withdrawal life of support. With regard to definition of death, it has long been standing ethical, philosophical debate on the following are the main points of connection, of conception. The whole brain death versus higher brain death. Death versus cardiopulmonary death, which is irreversible cessation of the heartbeat. Cultural, religious differences. Organ donation and the dead donor rule. Technological advances. These are the definition where we are encountered for. For example, now, Saudi Arabia is a leading country among the region in organ donation. And so we are Oman. But still there is, when it comes to definition, do we take the organs when during irreversible brain death or when the breathing of the heart stops with cardiopulmonary death, where the heart stops beating? These are controversial issues. And then where does the AIDA starts? And then we've got cultural and religious differences. Organ donation and the dead donor rule. These are some ethical issues which needs a thorough study. Technological advances, where a patient may be on ventilators for years. Still, the heart is going on, but he is dead. And the culture and the society don't agree that the patient is dead. Okay. So, no. Withdrawal of last support as the last issue. Now, ethical and philosophical controversies surrounding the withdrawal of life support are deeply and complex. They revolved around autonomy and sanctity of life. A patient may say, this is my autonomous right. You have to draw the life and stop everything, even feeding, based on his, this is about his advanced directives, advanced directive on autonomous right. And then versus sanctity of life, yes, this is your autonomous right, but there's a sanctity of life. By not giving you food and water, then we are killing you. Then there's a sanctity of life. So autonomy is always at clash with sanctity of life. Killing and letting die. That is another controversial issue, which we are still facing it when withdrawal of life support. Letting die is not like not giving food. Somebody may decide, say, okay, remove the ventilator. Don't give anything. Give me only nutrition and water. That is letting die. This is his right. You can remove the ventilators, provided they have signed it, but you cannot afford to give him nutrition, not to give nutrition. Quality of life and quantity of life, this is a Western concept where it's still debatable, and the debate is too long. And then we've got a slippery slope whereby withdrawal always leads to euthanasia and other complicated issues. And then the role of the family and surrogates is always on the concept of you should not remove it or should remove it. And this is ongoing controversies which we are confronted. And then we have got medical futility. And according to a DNR policy, eventually, it was agreed that medical DNR is a medical decision. 3 doctors have to agree that this patient is a DNR. And once they agree, according to all the controversies, cultures, medical and everything, we came to a situation where DNR is a medical decision, where we only inform the family of the decision. They have no right to accept or to refuse. It's a medical decision. And by this, I come to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Khitami, for an excellent presentation as usual. I wanted to ask you about the role of the International Bioethics Committee in supporting bioethics in our part of the world.
Again, your question?
The role of the International Bioethics Committee, which you are the vice chair of, in supporting ethics in our part of the world.
You are always asking difficult questions, Dr. Ahmed. على كل حال, yes, I'm the vice chair of UNESCO Bioethics Committee, and our role is to encourage all countries in the world, in the region, to initiate, to have a national bioethics committee. And for example, only 3 weeks back, our neighboring country, United Arab Emirates from Abu Dhabi, came to, with advice of the government of UAE, came to us how to establish a national bioethics committee based on the recommendation from UNESCO. UNESCO said, if you want to initiate, go to Muscat, to Oman. Their activities, they have achieved what they achieved in terms of national bioethics committees. So we gave them our guidelines and we encouraged them. We went to Kuwait, and because also Kuwait don't have a national bioethics committee, we went to Qatar to initiate it, etc. And with your help, EMRO, we had a series of meetings, ETT training, about 5 ethic teacher training courses from the regions, EMRO region, encouraging them to have bioethics committee. And the secret of having a powerful bioethics committee in any country is based on أمانة السر اللجنة you have to have a permanent لجنة. It's not voluntarily. Secretary, reporters, and the office should be there. And number two, and more important than anything, the chairman of the National Bioethics Committee has to be somebody very senior with full connection. And that's why we are in advantage of having a president who is the president of the university and who is from royal family. And we have achieved what we have achieved because of his presence and because of the presence of Amana Cyril Lejna. I think, have I answered your question?
Yes, you did. And another thing, Dr. Khitami, is that you are full-time. All of us work on bioethics committees part-time, but you are full-time. And this is really important in order to support MBCs or committees across the world. And this is really important, full-time and independent. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes, although I'm teaching bioethics at College of Medicine, but I'm fully employed with my team as the Secretariat of National Bioethics Committee.
Dr. Ahmed. Yes. Please allow me to take issue with the expression withdrawal of life support, because by definition, withdrawal of life support is euthanasia. So that concept is doomed if you don't want to do euthanasia. If we use terms that are precise, what we are doing when we are putting a patient on ventilator, we are supporting ventilation. So withdrawal of ventilatory support rather than withdrawal of life support. I think that it is very commonly used, withdrawal of life support, but by definition, this is euthanasia. And if you don't want to do euthanasia, your efforts is doomed.
Thank you very much. There's no reason why I should not agree with you. Thank you very much. You are right. Thank you.
And now with the next
Assalam
session, it's an
alaikum.
online session. Professor Khalid Fathi Graish, Professor of Nanomedicine, Molecular Medicine Department, Head of Clinical Research Center, Arabian Gulf University, Adjunct Professor at Molecular Pharmaceutics Department, University of Utah, USA. About case studies in Arab countries towards a shared ethical compass, which is an online session. دكتور خالد حضرتك معانا؟
نعم.
يا فندم أهلا وسهلا اتفضل.
ألف شكر لحضرتك وألف شكر للمؤتمر وألف شكر للدكتورة سونيا وسعيد بحضوري معاكم اليوم. So I am Khalid Graish. I am from Arabian Gulf University in Bahrain, and I am the chair of Clinical Research Center. So in this capacity, I would like to discuss with you today the issue with case studies in Arab countries and why we would like to have a shared ethical framework that can help all of Arab countries in this respect. So I will start with the landscape of scientific publishing integrity, case studies, which is topic of today as a major scientific output in the Arab region, international governance, and how we can relate to this, and the pathway towards a common ethical framework, as I think of it. So regarding the research integrity globally, as you can see, this is a paper retraction for 5 years, starting from 2019 to 2024. And those are the top 10 ranking countries in publication retraction. And you can see that in number 4, we have Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and number 7, Egypt. Of course, number 1, China, followed by United States. So we have presence among the 10 top ranking countries as Arab countries in terms of scientific research retraction. If we think of the Arab countries for the same time period, we will find that Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have total retraction of 415 papers, Egypt, for the same period of 5 years, 345. Now, if we consider the 3rd rank to the 10th rank, we will find that all of them are less than 300 papers. So either those two countries, they have more retraction than the remaining 8 scientific output from the next 8 countries. The retraction is about 1 in every 500 paper. This is the average for all Arab countries. In the United States, for example, it's 1 in 2,000 paper. Globally, it's around 1 in 700 papers. So we are basically getting higher than the global average. And the common reasons for retraction, plagiarism, and duplication of publication. And this actually differs from the international causes. So we have this specific cause for retraction, duplication of publication. It's about 1/4 of publications are retracted because of duplication, and falsification and fabrication is about 10%. So why case studies are important for the research output in Arab countries? Basically, because it represent about 37 or close to 40% of all the research output. So this is very important publication type that needs to be focused on. So what is case studies? As you are all aware and even know better than me, it is just I am a clinician. I have found something that I would like to tell my fellow clinician. I cannot reach all my fellow clinicians all over the world. So I make a description of what I found and I send it for publication. So basically it's intended to inform medical practice and improve care of something that is usually not encountered. What are not clinical case study? And this is very important. Any intervention beyond standard of care practice is not considered case study. It's considered interventional study. The report include research methodology. If I have a methodological plan and outcome analysis, so I have a research design. So this is not a case study or case report. And the informed consent is the same one taken for the clinical service. It is not a case report because this informed consent is taken for service that is paid by the patient. It is not taken for a scientific publication. So in this case, there is an issue that the informed consent is the same one taken for the clinical service. So the causes of research misconduct in clinical case studies, and in fact, this can also extend to other type of publication. Informed consent missing or vague, identifiable information, so that you are giving information that can easily tell who is the patient. And this is not acceptable because the patient have the right to protect their data privacy. And there are many examples. So one of the reasons for withdrawal is publication without approval from Research Ethics Committee. And I would like to focus on this because this part is debatable worldwide. So almost 30% of published case reports in global study lack clear patient documentation, which is something that can be attributed to using the clinical consent in exchange of the case report needed, required consent. So the reason for why clinician do or medical doctor do misconduct, we have the culture of publish or perish, and we are all under this stress. So this hasteness can lead to mistakes and breaching of ethical boundaries. Limited access to funding and facilities, and this is very true in many countries in our region. And in some situations, there is lack of oversight and review of the research integrity. And this is something that need to be implemented with clear mechanisms. So let's look for the international framework for governance of case studies. We will find that in United States, it's under the Health Insurance Probability and Accountability Act. In European Union, the General Data Protection Regulation, and in United Kingdom, the General Medical Council and National Health Service. We will find that there is some subtle difference in how those big bodies handle case studies. For example, I have highlighted here the ethical review is not really a mandatory or required in the United States for case studies because it's not considered as a research. You didn't do research. You are describing a piece of your practice. In European Union, yes, it's frequently required. So if you are applying, you better have the coverage and the backup of approval of Research Ethics Committee. United Kingdom, it's in between. Also in the fines for breaching the research integrity in United States, about 50,000. In European Union can mount to 20 million. And in United Kingdom can be in a different form like professional sanction, like you don't do research work for certain amount or etc. So there is variation. And as there is variation, there is no consensus in our Arab region on how we deal with case studies and case reports. And if the world have this part as a gray area in research, whether it is research or not research, and they are debating whether they how they deal with it and how they interact with breaches in research conduct. I think we as Arab countries, we need to take a close look at this part because it represents about 40% of the research output. It is easy, it is acceptable, it is beneficial, and it also it talks about the clinical experience, which is found in this part of the world. So this is a gray area, and there is a need to address the challenges here as Arab countries, as people with the same, mostly have the same religion, the same culture, the same ethical background, the same language. So I think there is a need for a framework to derive from for each country how to deal with this huge chunk of research output. So overall, addressing this ethical challenge, strengthening ethical oversight of institution, providing adequate resources whenever it is available, maybe joint resources between different institutes, fostering the culture of integrity and educating our colleagues and have training workshops and training programs about the ethical conduct of research and ethical conduct of case studies. And as I mentioned, I would like to suggest in this forum to have a pan-Arab ethical framework similar to the European Union regulation, which applies to all members in the European Union. With this, I thank you very much for the invitation, and I'm very happy to be with you again, and looking forward to your discussion. Thank you.
So much.